We are all done, so we're going to transition to our next thing for today. We're going to review annotations and questions from Friday. So I'm going to share my screen for those of you guys at home, and you guys here can obviously look at the smart board. All right. Looks like the quiz went pretty well, so that's a plus. All right, so what you're going to need to do is head back into last week's calendar in order to access this, because I wasn't on top of my game last night when I was putting this stuff in, and I didn't link the assignment again to this week. So that's my fault. I should probably do that. But we'll go into week 2, scroll all the way down to Friday, and then you're going to open 2 different tabs. You're going to open the annotation tab, and you're also going to open the Winter's Drive questions so that you can see both of those things. All right, I'm going to start with the annotations, and then I'll talk about the questions a little bit more in detail. All right, so with the annotations, what I did over the weekend was I went through each of your annotations individually after touching base with you in class and giving you a little bit more direction on what to look for. And I commented on some of the comments you have made, whether it was about vocabulary or things that were going on in the story. I tried to help you pick out some of the context clues for things if you said you didn't understand what the word meant. So you could read through that when you're looking at the feedback. What I also was looking for was what kind of connections were you picking up on? So were you understanding what was happening in the plot? Did you know that Michael went to Canada? He went to his old house, that he walked through his old house, he lifted up a floorboard, and he found an old hockey card. So if you got all that, I was looking for those things. Then I was also looking for some connections that you could make. Did you realize that the card was worth a lot of money and he probably wanted that money for whatever reason? Did you realize it was kind of bold of him to ask a stranger to go into someone's old house? That's pretty odd and not something that most people would allow to happen, especially now. So those were some things that I was looking for as well. So I graded your annotations according to, first of all, did you have enough that I was able to tell what you were thinking as you were thinking it? Did you provide surface annotations, and did you make connections? Okay, ultimately, did you spend some time trying to use this reading strategy? Okay. So then we went to the questions here, and you can see that I also gave some feedback if you're in the right spot of these questions, if they load, maybe. If your Google Doc doesn't load right away, it's because Canvas isn't talking the right way to Google, so sometimes you just have to reload it a few times for it to get itself together, or the internet's acting up, so either way. All right, so these questions were different than the ones that were attached to the story for multiple reasons. These are the types of questions you're going to see on your unit test as you guys head into a unit test next Tuesday. So you heard that first here. Next Tuesday is going to be your first unit test. The difference between these questions and questions that you saw at the end of the story, if you kept reading those, was these embedded our vocabulary words directly into the question. So for example, here, many of you got this question wrong because you didn't read the question close enough. It was asking you to find the antonym of the underlined word. So what a lot of you did was you used the context clues and you found the synonym of that underlined word or the meaning of that underlined word. So many of you guys chose letter B as the answer. Profusely means to do something over and over again, to do it a lot. So again, and abundantly both mean the same thing here. And they would be synonyms or definitions of the word profusely. If we're looking for the opposite, which is what antonym means, we would choose letter D. That's going to be your correct answer. So lesson number 1, when you're reading these, make sure you know what the question's asking you to answer, okay? And if that means as you're taking the test or whatever, and you need to make note of the fact that it's asking you to find the antonym, you can do that in some way, whether it's writing a little sticky note to yourself on scratch paper, or if it's on a document like this, you could highlight it or underline it. All right, question number 2 is asking you to draw, what context clues tell you about how Michael is feeling as he crosses the border? Name 2. So this question can be confusing for a few reasons. A lot of you guys let me know how Michael was feeling. Okay, you said he was nervous, anxious, happy, afraid. All valid partial responses to this question. It's asking you what context clues tell you that. So you have to go back into the story and find something that's telling me he is nervous. Find something that's telling me he is afraid. Okay? Everybody good here? So what we want to do is change our answer if you didn't. Okay? So change your answer for number 2 so that you have the right thing when you go to study. What are we putting here? Okay, what we're putting here is something that we can pull from our text. You could do it word for word, or you could summarize it. If I go back up here, I can use the fact that he is kind of bending and working with his passport to show that he's nervous. So when you kind of are fidgety of sorts, okay, that would show that someone is nervous. That's why I would think he's nervous. What else does he do? He's kind of like thinking to himself that he doesn't know what line to go in. He's overthinking the fact that men are less likely to give you a hard time than women. Okay, all ideas, there's multiple of them that you can add to show how you got to the answer of being nervous or anxious. That one and number 1 were 2 of the most incorrect answers. Does anybody need me to go over those again? Okay, question number 3 is asking you to draw a conclusion about what Michael may do with the trading cards once he gets home. How do you know? So first of all, you have to draw what the conclusion is, and then you have to write how do you know that. So in any kind of test, any kind of format, when I'm looking for content, you have to make sure that you have everything answered. So if you're in this class, you've probably been notorious for doing it as quickly as possible, is one of the things that happens and why kids kind of get in this class to begin with, because you only answer one part of the question. If that happens, you're only getting partial credit. So make sure you slow down and answer everything that it's asking you. Question number 4 was a challenge question, one that was supposed to kind of throw you back to middle school and see what you remember from middle school. Literary device is one of our vocab words, and it's another word for English term. What English term is happening most in this story? Some of you put imagery, which you're not completely wrong. Imagery does happen in the story, and it happens in all stories, because without imagery, you don't really have a story. But it's specifically in this story, the author is using flashbacks. So they're giving us memories of things that are happening previously. Okay, and at this point in our high school career, we should be able to figure that out without prompting. So that's why that question's there. And question 5, what is the main idea of the paragraph below? So you can read this directly from the story and then come up with your answer. Okay, so what will happen is these were open-ended because sometimes open-ended is a little bit easier than multiple choice. There's not one correct answer. I can kind of go through and see if you're on the right track. You can have multiple things that you pull from the text. Multiple choice, on the other hand, you're trying to decipher between a correct answer and what we call an almost correct answer as a distractor. On the other hand, you have 4 options. Sometimes it's easier to guess if you're really out of sorts and don't know what you're doing. So what we're going to do is transition tomorrow a little bit from these open-ended type questions to multiple choice. Okay, what does that look like if I put questions similar to this in the form of multiple choice? We all good? All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. We'll transition to our last thing. Make sure if you have any questions, now would be a good time to ask about these 2 items. All right. So last thing we're going to do for today, and it's going to take people a little bit different time constraints based on reading and how long it takes us to do some things. So click on week 3. We'll go back into this week. And our last thing that we're going to do is going to be our first Achieve 3000 article. So remember back to, you took the pre-test for this, whether it was with Mrs. Conahan or one of your other teachers, or you took it with me. And what that did was it started your software on a specific level. It's really hard for me to make sure that you're having success because, let's say, Trinity reads at a certain level, but Abby reads at a different level than her, even slightly. And I want to make sure that you're doing stuff at your level to slightly above, and it's not too low or way too hard. We want to make sure that you feel like you can start to make progress and show some growth. So this software is a way to do that because I physically can't make something different for everybody. If you click on this, it's going to ask for your login. This is just going to take you to Achieve, hopefully. And at this point, you should know your login for this website. Hopefully you saved it the first time around. If you didn't, now would be a good time to let me know that you need your password and I will look it up for you. Okay, when you get logged in, just hang tight. I'm going to check with everybody in a second. Trinity, do you care if I log in as you just to show them what the screen looks like? No, okay. It might kick you out, but I'll let you know in a second. All right, I just got a few buttons to press here, so give me a minute. All right, I'm gonna log in as Trinity here so we can all see what's going on. Does anybody need their password in here? No? All right, Josh, you have your password. You good? Can you give me a thumbs up if you're all right? Okay, Will, how about you? Okay, Allie, do you need your password?
No.
What?
No.
You don't need your password? You're okay? Okay. Emma, you good? Thank you. Mackenzie? Kit? Cole, you all right? Okay, Vienna, logged in? Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. Your password's crazy. All right, those of you guys online, I'm going to share my screen with you in 1 second. All right. Okay, so when you log on, this is what you will see. And one of the things that I want you to be able to do is make this less monotonous, less harsh on you. So I want you to be able to choose something that you want to read about. So whether that is you like dirt bikes, you like sports, you like politics, whatever it is, you can read something. So if you're, we'll say lazy, but if you don't care what you read, there are lessons on the front um, that you can see the titles of. So you have Beyond GPAs and SATs. You can click the arrows here. What is impeachment? America's First Freedom Rider. So you can see that there's current event type things as well. So this is an article on artificial intelligence, whatever. So you have those options. And then you also have the search bar up here. So in the search bar, you can type in something that you are interested in. So let's just say we type in fashion, and you can get all types of articles and kind of scroll through. This one's about Rihanna. So I am looking for an article that either says 5-step lesson underneath it. Okay, you can see this right here. Or it says article and activity, because those are the two things we need. We need to have an article and an activity, which are the questions. If it says article and discussion, you don't want to use it. And if it says article only, you also don't want to use it. Okay, so once you click on something that you find interesting, this is your job. Okay, you're gonna open it up, and some of you may have seen these if you've had to do these in the middle school when they were called Teen Biz or something like that. Okay, the before reading poll you do not have to do. So if you're not listening to me right now, now's a good time because you're gonna create more work for yourself. Okay, you are not doing step 1. The article is the thing that you want to read. So when you pull that open, okay, it's gonna pop up and look for some of the vocab words with you. But you can see this is the article. Okay, as you read the article, you have options of using some things to help you. So you could read, you could use the vocab over here. You could take some notes in the box that they provide right here as well. Okay, you can always flip back and forth to the article. The other thing you're doing is the activity. Okay, these are the 8 questions that come along with whatever article you choose, and they're in the form of multiple choice. Okay, so you would do this, say I click B and I hit submit. Okay, if I get it wrong, I get a second attempt at answering it. So each question, unless you get it right on the first try, is going to be your second attempt. When you finish the article and the activity, it automatically pushes your scores to my computer when I log in. Okay, so I can see, say Trinity did these 8 questions. I would see that she got a 75% on her first try and an 88% on her second try. How do I hold you accountable for doing these instead of just clicking buttons? Well, the fact that they're on your level or slightly above means if you do them slowly and well, you should be able to earn a 75 to 100% on it, in theory. Okay, meaning you should be successful. So it's easy for me to give you a quiz grade. Okay, so this counts as a quiz every week. And what I do for the first marking period, the third marking period here, is I take your first score and your second score and I average them together. So if Trinity got a 75%, which would be a 6 out of 8, and then she got a 7 out of 8 on the second try, I would add those together. 6 plus 7 is 13. 13 out of 16 possible points. So in the grade book, I'd put in a quiz and she'd get a 13 out of 16. Does everybody understand how that works? Okay, so the goal is we'll do one of these at least once a week, because if you do 4 of them within a month, it'll then adjust your score. And if you're doing well, it'll help you grow and push you to do a little bit more. All right, so what is your job now that I'm done talking forever? Your job is to log in, to choose an article, to do the article, meaning read it, and do the activity, meaning answer the questions. Okay, when you're done with that, and it's going to take people different time to do that, it'll push directly to my computer, so you don't have to let me know. However, if you're apprehensive or don't know if it came to my computer or not, you could say, hey, Mrs. O, did it come through? And I will look, make sure it did, so that you're not automatically getting a 0 on a quiz grade. You don't want that to happen, obviously. Okay? All right. So if you finish the Empower, those of you guys who are online, once you're done, just let me know. I could double check it came through. After you finish the Empower, the Achieve, you can sign off. And you guys in here, once you finish the Empower or Achieve, you can work on something else. Okay? Yeah, Mace. You can pick any topic, anything that you're interested in. All right. And then Kit and Vienna, I'm going to send you guys a message in the chat about your Study Island test that you have yet to take. So look out for that in a few minutes.